Hi folks, it's Andy and welcome to today's Kendo rant. Very quick video for you today. I don't have so much time. I'm a bit on the clock, but I do want to get to the questions that we got from the previous video, and I did want to put something out there. So I might only have a short video. I always say this, and it ends up being a half-hour video, but I don't think it will be today. Yeah, let's get right to it. Okay. So this first question is in response to my answer to one of the questions from yesterday's video, which was about which would the people prefer to win? Would the elite Kenshi? The original question from yesterday's video was would the elite Kenshi, given the choice, would they prefer to win the All Japan Championships or the World Championships? And my answer to that was basically the All Japan Championships basically carries more prestige for various reasons. Go and watch yesterday's video. It's called Thoughts on All Japans. Go and watch that if you want to hear more about my thoughts on that. But basically, this question comes in response to that. And it says, isn't there also a much bigger pressure on the Japanese team at the World Championships? If you're at the All Japan Championship and you made it to top 4 or 8, then you're a great Kenshi. But if the Japanese team doesn't win the World Championships, then it's a failure. Same for individuals. Yeah, absolutely. No, that's absolutely true. Yeah, there's a massive amount of pressure on the Japanese team at the World Championships because, yeah, I mean, they absolutely have to win for their sort of national pride, as it were. Kendo being a Japanese martial art. So yeah, absolutely, I totally agree with that. But the original question was, given the choice, would they rather win the Worlds or would they rather win the All Japans? And I still believe that the majority of people would probably choose they'd rather win the All Japans, as it does carry more prestige in Japan, especially amongst sort of everyday people, probably people that don't do Kendo. For example, the World Championships is not televised in Japan on regular TV, generally. It might get on the news afterwards, but it's not broadcast live, whereas the All Japans is. It's a much more prestigious event overall. Being the All Japan champion is probably the highest sort of, I guess, honour is maybe the right word, that you can achieve in competitive Kendo, and it lasts with you for the rest of your life. Now, that doesn't take away from being the world champion. Being the world champion, of course, is a massively important and honourable achievement. It's just the question was, given the choice, which would they prefer? And I just do think that the All Japans just tops it slightly, if that makes sense. That isn't to say that the Japanese team aren't under immense pressure at the World Championships to win, because they absolutely are. They absolutely are. And probably they're under more pressure at the Worlds than they are at the All Japans. Rightly, as you say, it's better to be in the top 4 of the... it's probably better to be in the top 4, even the top 8 of the All Japans, than it is to be in sort of the top 3 to come second in the world. So yeah, that's true, and certainly they're probably under much more pressure. But as to which one they would prefer to actually individually win, then yeah, I think the based on let's obviously. It's not mutually exclusive either. The question is, if you've got the choice, you have to win. You can win the All Japans, and that means you lose the Worlds. Then they'll probably choose to win the Worlds for the sake of the country. I'm sure they would do that. But if we're talking on an individual basis, which is the more prestigious title to have, then yeah, I still think that the All Japans is probably that slightly bit more considered as a prestigious achievement, if that makes sense. So I hope that clears that up. But it's just my opinion. It's just my opinion, though. So I haven't asked any of these people, of course. So maybe they'd say something different if you asked them directly. Next one. Hi, Andy. I have a question for you regarding the door measures. I'm long torso, short legs kind of guy. So my door always looks too short, and the ski protection keeps getting stuck between my chest and the door beneath. I used an XL size door, but my question is how to correctly measure the door size and door minute so the proportion is good on my chest. Sometimes I feel that the minute leaves too much of my chest unprotected. Needless to say that a lot of times I get hot on the door on my ribs due to the fact that I'm having long torso. It's kind of complicated, thanks. Okay, So it's very hard for me to say exactly without knowing your exact measurements. If you want more advice, email me your exact measurements and I'll let you know. Generally, door are made in a series of standard sizes, and most of those sizes fit most people. It's quite rare that somebody needs a custom sized door. The door doesn't have a specific kind of definite way of how it has to fit you, okay? So some people have a gap between the ago and the top of the minute. I do when I wear my door. Most people do actually, but some people that have kind of got the shorter torso or maybe are a little bit shorter, sometimes it overlaps. Either is actually okay. In terms of it protecting the chest so much, I mean, realistically, this is one thing I'm always a little bit sort of confused about, and I don't know why. I don't know why people concern themselves about it as much as they do, because I think a lot of it is based on a bit of a misconception. Of course, right, having more of the dormine covering the chest area is going to protect you a little bit more from missed strikes. But in terms of the actual, like the door die, it's a bit like the kote as well. Sometimes people say, oh, I've got long arms, so I should have longer kote. But this, essentially, the target area, the size of the target area that the opponent is attacking doesn't change based on the size of the person that they're attacking. So everybody should attack is roughly the same size. So because you're tall, for example, if you're tall and there's a big gap between your underarm and the top of your door, that isn't an excuse for your opponent to miss door more, because the door is the same size on you as it is on me. They should still be attacking the same size target, if that makes sense. So it doesn't follow that because there's more of you exposed here, that suddenly your opponent should be less accurate with their strikes. I know it doesn't always work like that, but do you understand? You know, that's the sort of logic that I follow with that. So it's a bit like the kote as well. Some people say, yeah, I've got longer arms, so I need longer kote, because if I don't, then people miss it more. But I don't see how people should miss it more when it's the same size. They should be hitting the same area. It doesn't matter how long after the area the arm is, if that makes sense. But in terms of getting the actual balance correct, I mean, yeah, it's a bit hard for me to say directly without your exact measurements. But you're saying you've got a long torso and short legs. So, I mean, XL door is probably the extra large size door is probably the most appropriate option. But if you're finding that it catches against the ago, then you probably need a slightly smaller one, to be honest. And even if you have got the long torso, like I just said, it doesn't mean that you need a longer door, because the target area is the same. So your opponent shouldn't be becoming less accurate because you've got a longer torso. It doesn't make sense that they should be doing that. So what I mean by that is, I think you find that even if you had a longer door, you'd still have just as an inaccurate opponent, if that makes sense, and you wouldn't necessarily be more protected unless you brought the door right up to the underneath of your armpit. So that's where I sort of think on that, if that makes sense. Okay, next one. Andy, love the show. Since you talked about maintenance for the Shinai, can you also talk about the work for the Bogu as well? It depends on the kind of Bogu that you've got. Most Bogu these days is pretty low maintenance, especially if it's using mainly synthetic materials. The main thing you want to do is, after you finish practice, use your sort of tenuggui to give it a wipe down. First of all, we'll just try and wipe some of the sweat off the inside, where you've obviously had it in contact with your skin, and then make sure that you get it out and you dry it after you finish practice. Don't leave it in the bag so that it gets all sort of stuffy and it'll go moldy. Try and you could hang it up to dry like I showed yesterday in that video, or you could just leave it out on I leave it on a shelf. Because I've got too much Bogu of my own. I have a shelf to put it all on. But when you do put it out to dry, what you want to do is you want to make sure that the mengane, the cage, is facing upwards and not downwards, okay? I did mention that yesterday, but if you leave it facing downwards, then gravity can pull the sweat into the menbuchi, that hard bit that's painted red and black, that connects the cage to the futon. And if that gets wet, it can go soft and change shape. So you want to keep it up, facing upwards, and leave it out to dry like that. Same with the kote. Again, give them a wipe with a cloth, and they should be good to go. After sort of a few months or years of use, once it starts to get a bit smelly, you can actually wash some parts of the bogu. You can wash the kote in a very similar way you can wash the kendogi and hakama. I actually have a video on this channel about how to wash the kendogi, so search that in the search bar, and you can actually just wash the kote, and you can even do the tare the same way. Can't do the men like that though, because like I've just said, you don't want to get the menbuchi wet, so you're best just wiping that with a cloth for the time being. And finally, if you've got real deer skin on there, especially on the palm leathers, then every so often you want to give them a little bit of a coating of like a leather oil, like a neat's foot oil, or you can actually get like a deer skin oil. But like I say, any sort of leather working oil, like people that do horse riding and stuff use. For their saddles and stuff like that. You just put a bit of, not a lot, just a bit, and then make sure it dries out before you use it again. That'll just keep it a little bit moist and stretchy, especially if you do wash it, because even if it's got the deerskin palms, you can still wash it like that, but when it dries out, it'll go kind of dried out and a bit hard. So it's good to give it a little bit of an oil, just to give it that flexibility back, if that makes sense. Okay, I hope that helps. Next one, hi all. Okay, so this is a question from the Kendo Show Early Access group. If you're not in the group, get in the group. There's a link in the description. It's free to join, and it's where I post all of the instructional videos before I post them anywhere else. And it's also where lots of people post questions just like this one, and loads of people chime in, and a great discussion often happens. So there's loads of experienced Kendoka in there. Obviously I'm in there, I see everything that goes in there, and I tend to answer most of the questions in these videos, but you'll also get the opinions of lots of other very experienced Kendoka as well. So definitely get in that group, the link is in the description. Question from somebody quite new to Kendo. I recently participated in a big seminar with 70 plus Kendoka from different countries. For me, it was easy to find my place in the line, brackets down at the end. But how do people in the middle ranks do it when there are no belts in Kendo? I know that it's not as strict here as it is in Japan, but if you don't know everyone, where do you place yourself? Does going, same goes for visiting other dojo, I guess. Thanks. Okay, great. So what we're talking about here is most places have, certainly in Europe, when you do the lineup at the start, most people line up in grade order. So with the highest grade at the top, and people sort of in grade order going down. And obviously, as we don't have an outward kind of indicator of our grade in Kendo, it can be hard to figure out where you're supposed to sit. And the interesting point is, you said, I know it's not as strict here as it is in Japan. Now, it's not that strict in Japan. This sort of thing is not that strict in Japan at all. In fact, what tends to happen in Japan is people tend to fight over who can sit lower rather than who can go higher. They tend to be like, oh, I'll sit lower. No, you go above me. You go, and they end up kind of, not fighting, but kind of, you know, like, oh, no, please, dozo, like this. And this sort of thing happens. And in Japan, actually, it rarely happens based on grade. Most people do it based off age rather than based off grade, but it's not like a super strict thing. The more important thing, and I think some people have commented in the Kendo Show Early Access group on this post about it, saying that it's more important that the whole thing goes smoothly rather than you're in the exact correct place. And I agree with that, to be honest. Obviously, you try and figure out where you're supposed to be. If you're lining up in grade order, there's nothing wrong with kind of just asking, sorry, could I ask what grade I am? I'm just trying to figure what grade you are. I'm just trying to figure out where I should sit. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. Or excuse me, I'm Shodan or whatever. Do you know where I should sit? Something like that is totally fine. And they'll just say, oh yeah, just down there, mate, or whatever. And you'll be fine. But don't sweat it, you know what I mean? Don't worry about it too much. Just try and figure out whereabouts it is you're supposed to be and just sit around there. It's not like it isn't like a competitive thing, right? And it gets like that, right? And I remember this when I first started out in Kendo as well. Like, there was a little bit of a competitive thing going on in the dojo, and it was like when you pass the next Q grade or whatever it was we were in those days. And I was like, yes, now I get to sit further up the line, or higher up the line than that guy and stuff like that. And it's really stupid thinking about it because that's not really what it's supposed to be. I actually think it's better to line up in age order rather than grade order. Certainly experience order rather than grade order. But you know, what matters is that the whole process goes smoothly, and you know, because you don't want to be starting class late because you can't figure out where to sit in line because everyone's trying to figure out, oh, what grade are you, what grade, well, I'm this and you're this, okay, well, I'll sit here and you sit to my left, okay, now turn around. You know, we don't want to be doing that. So instead, you're better off just sort of playing it by ear. And if you're not so sure, just quickly ask someone, oh, sorry, I'm this grade, I'm Shodan, where should I sit? And you're sorted. Simple as that. I hope that sort of helps. I hope that makes sense. Someone did comment, actually, they said, you know, don't try to be more Japanese than the Japanese, and that's it's kind of funny, and it's kind of true, and it happens a lot. We do it a lot here in Europe, certainly, where we try and be more Japanese than the Japanese are in Japan. We're much stricter on a lot of things that we imagine to be really strict in Japan that aren't. Certainly some elements of nei, for example, like the manners stuff, bowing when you enter the dojo, placing the shinai the right way up on against the wall and stuff like that. A lot of that stuff like is ignored in Japan a lot, which it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. And lots of Japanese sensei come over here and they comment and say, oh, you know, in Europe, it was a really good example of that sort of thing. And then they take that back to Japan and they use that as a way to improve their students in Japan as well. So it's a good thing that we do that. So it's not always a bad thing to be more Japanese than the Japanese, as it were. But in this case, I think you can just relax a bit. You don't need to sweat so much, okay? I hope that makes sense. I'm going to end the video there because I did say it'd be a quick one. And every time I say it's going to be a quick one, it ends up being like a 35-minute video. So we're just over 15 minutes. So I'm going to stop now. Because I do have to fly. I will do another one of these as soon as I can. Leave me a comment down below under here. Tell me what you'd like me to talk about next time. Give me some questions, stuff like that. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe. You know, all that sort of stuff. I don't need to tell you that. Get in the Kendo Show Early Access group and you'll get access to the instructional videos before everyone else. And you'll also obviously get access to the great discussion that happens there. Most importantly, shop at KendoStar.com. You know I've got to say it. It is the best shop for Kendo Bogu on the internet, if I do say so myself. Obviously, it is a shop that I run, and yeah, I mean it's all equipment that I've specifically selected for the international market. Most of it I've designed myself. The Bogu specifically, it's all designed to be very protective, very comfortable. It's super popular. It's really easy to see why. And we've got some great deals as well on there, especially on the shinai at the moment. Go and check out the shinai deals if you're in the market for shinai. And yeah, we've got the KendoStar all-purpose shinai, for example, on sale, and we've got the Chikara Jisengata shinai as well. They're really nice shinai, and they are actually they're the last ones we've got. So once they're gone for good. So if you're on the fence with those, you want to snap them up now because you're going to miss them otherwise. Okay. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.